Good morning. I am going to do a little workout for you today, including the resistance bands. I've had a few requests for that on my live Facebook page. When we were doing that, we didn't typically use bands because not everybody had them, and because it was a live class, of course, then that doesn't work super well. But here in a video format, people can be able to pick and choose. So if you have a resistance band, I recommend the ones with the handles. And I'll explain to you why. But if you do have a flat band for now, you can do that. But if you happen to have high blood pressure, you want to be very careful about that, because having to squeeze so tightly, and usually people kind of bind it around their hands like this. Don't do that. Just kind of bunch it up in the middle of your hand here. But when we bind it around here, we cut off the circulation in the hand, which increases our blood pressure. But just even squeezing this small little band, that's why we always couple the band with the handle. So that way when we need to have more resistance there, we can choke up that way. We're not trying to squeeze so tight on that tiny little band, okay? So these are the actual bands that we use like in a silver sneakers class. Yellow is the lightest resistance, green is next, and then it goes red, blue. I actually don't recommend, for some gentlemen a red could probably work okay, but because of the way that we work our muscles with them, you've got to be very careful even with the red band, because it creates so much resistance, especially in the shoulder region, that we have the great potential for injury there. So that being said, I do have a shoulder injury. I have a partial tear in my rotator cuff, my subscapularis. We'll be having surgery soon, so I'll be kind of modifying a little bit. You'll notice that I'll kind of release the tension here on my left side because of that. But other than that, how about we get started? So you just need a chair or something that you can sit on, your resistance band, have some shoes on. You might want to have a little bit of water by you. Should we get started? Let me just move this chair over just a little bit for right now while we do our cardio. Let's just start to march the feet. Yeah, doesn't want to stay up there, does it? Set it right there. March. So we're just doing a little bit of a warm-up just to get not only our heart rate moving, but warm up our muscles too. Because I don't know about where you are, but for us here in Las Vegas, it's actually been pretty cold lately. Like, very cold. So we always want to, warm up. Even when it's warm outside, you maybe don't need as much warm-up because your body temperature may be already elevated. Let's swing and tap. But there's a difference between, the outdoor temperature and the temperature of our muscles. So like when we just have rolled out of bed and we're, not moving around, we've got to get those muscles kind of warmed up and awake so that they can withstand the load that we do. So we decrease the risk of injury, right? Let's go back to a march. Let's tap it out left, right, or right, left, either one. Sometimes my brain, because when I teach on video, it actually transposes the way that we are. When I'm teaching live, I have to mirror and it's different. So, sometimes my brain is just not sure which side I'm on. Good job. Let's march it tall. Oh, let's just roll those shoulders for a moment. Release any residual tension you might have there in the shoulders. Let's take that step right and left. You can add those arms. So remember, the arms and legs are the levers that drive the work. So the more movement you have in the arms and legs, the more it's going to affect that heart rate. So hopefully that information will help you know how to adjust. You can make arm movements bigger. We can squat and lift if you want more. Or you could take it down. You could even drop the arms all together. You could even sit on the chair and just march the feet or tap the feet, whatever we're doing. You could do no feet and only arms. Lots of options. March it tall. Now you're going to do a forward, backward step. It's up and back. So we have our forward, backward march, or some people call it the hustle. That's the 1, 2, 3 tap or 1, 2, 3 knee lift. This is just a forward, backward step up. And this leads right into our V step. So we just take it wide out. And you can open those arms wide. Again, I don't don't have much range of motion for certain moves with my left hand. 2, 1, march tall. Good. Let's just try all that to the left side. Single side step to start. Single. Again, using the arms or no arms, chair option, they all work. We're going to step forward and back, so we're leading with that left leg. The left leg is starting everything we do. It's very important both for muscular balance and for our cognition, our brain, right? To be able to work both sides. Up and back. We're going to open it wide to that V step. Out. Out. There's Bella wandering through, just checking out what's going on. Hopefully they'll be quiet. I know some of you have probably seen some of my videos where they're not so quiet. 2 more. And march it tall. So at this stage, you should be starting to notice a little bit of elevation in your heart rate, unless you're seated. When we're seated, it's sometimes hard to get a little bit more elevation. You can make bigger arm movements, take it left, right. But we should be starting to notice a little bit of elevation. Now we're going to do that hustle step or the forward, backward march. Take it up, tap. Good, up. Let's add the knee lift. 1, 2, 3, lift. The next time we do it, we'll add some arms. So now we kind of get the feet and march it tall. Good. So we just kind of do it gradually. I do it kind of in what we call progressions. So you can always just stay with one move. You don't have to progress up, okay? And maybe do the video again in a week or 2, and you can try the progressions then. That's a great option. Right, left. Step forward and back, up, back. So we're just stepping straight forward and back. And then we're going to progress to that V step, which is the wide in the front. Out, 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 back, back. Good. Remember, arms or no arms. 3, 2, forward, backward march. Up, back. Add that knee left. Let's add some arms. Roll, press. Roll, press and march. Good. So when we add the arms, especially when our arms are doing something totally different than our feet, sometimes our brain is like, ooh, I don't know what to do, right? So you can practice it a little, then leave it out. Try it again the next time. Left, right. Bella. We're going to step forward, back. Here we go. Up, back. So straight forward, then we'll open up to the V step. Up. 3, 2. Let's open it wide to that V step. Out. Out. Good job. 2, 1, march tall. Forward, backward march. Up, back. Let's add those arms. Press, roll, press. And march it tall. Nice work. Let's take it back to that single side step, left, right. Let's pull up hamstring curl. So again, this is a progression from just stepping side to side to now we're pulling it up for that hamstring curl, working the back of the legs right here. Good. And march it tall. All right, we're going to do what's called a pony step. So it's a little bit quicker feet. You can just stay with the march or the pony. It's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We shift the weight from side to side. But those faster feet activate what we call fast twitch fibers in the legs. So instead of just stepping, we're moving quick, right? You can add those arms. You could just do straight up and down. I kind of like to move them out to the side. It's just whatever feels good to you. And again, you can leave the arms out totally. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, march tall. So you notice that when we add the arms with what we're doing, it increases your heart rate more. So you get your breathing increases. Single side step. We're going to add the 2 steps this time. So 2 and back. Good. So we have a single side and a double side. Singles right here. Hamstring curl. We're going to go to that forward, backward step. Here we go. Up and back. Up and back. 2 more. Take it wide to a V step. 2, 1, march tall. Let's take it to the left, single side step to start. Here we go, side. Stop, Bella. Oh, this crazy dog, she's chasing a rock. Oh, of course, and now the phone's gonna ring. Hopefully you can just ignore that. Because I don't want to have to stop and then not have time to actually do your video. Let's add a push across. Push, push. Just never fails. But like I said before, you just kind of get a glimpse into what life is like in my house. It's always a little crazy. Push. And step tall. And the worst part is that most of the time the phone calls are annoying solicitation calls. Relax the shoulders. Bring the hands up. You're going to make little tiny circles with those hands. Circles. Good. Now circle to the back. And take it down and up. Down, up, down, up, down, up. So we don't have any resistance in our arms right now. We're just moving them. So like in certain movement patterns, even with my tear, I can move my shoulder in that range of motion. But other ones, I can't even do a small amount of movement. So we just have to learn to listen to our body and march it tall. Because our body will let us know. That's what pain is. It's a way of our body saying, hey, something's wrong here. Okay, you need to address it. Swing and tap. And march it tall. All right, we should be nice and warmed up so our muscles are well prepared to be able to work on some strength with our bands. So you're gonna grab a little drink, you're gonna grab your bands. I'm gonna go take my phone off the hook so that it won't ring again, and hopefully will not be interrupted. All right. So again, we have our resistance band. If you happen to have a flat band, you're just going to kind of crinkle up the ends and kind of hold it in like a ball in your hand. One other thing that you can do, I have somebody that took a piece of PVC pipe, so if you happen to know what that is, and they just made a handle. They tied the band around it, and so they could use their flat band that way. Another thing that I have used is a pool noodle, okay, the thinner pool noodles. So sometimes that can work too to create a handle for you. So again, it's not as big of an issue if you don't have high blood pressure. But if you do have high blood pressure, very important that you not try to squeeze onto little tiny things like that because our blood pressure shoots up a lot with that, okay? All right, we're gonna start with that tubing around behind our back. So as we take it behind our back, it is underneath your armpits. So see how it's under? Okay, you don't want it over top of your shoulders because it will roll up and smack you in the head, okay? So as we press forward, you might notice, at least if you have a handled band, that there's not a lot of resistance there, right? So this is that choking up that we talked about. So you take the colored portion, pull it up between the thumb and the first finger, okay? We don't wrap it around the hand, okay? So it's choked up like that to be able to do it. You can squeeze with those handles. Bella, stop. Oh, so sorry. Crazy dog. It doesn't seem to matter when I do it. I've tried doing them late in the afternoon when she's kind of taking a nap, but for some reason when I start doing my exercise stuff like this, she thinks it's time to play. And so she collects rocks outside and she brings them in the house and then kind of throws them around and chases them. And so anyway, so apparently she's just gonna do that every time that I do these exercise videos. All right, so enough about that. Let's work out. So I want you to keep your shoulders down. So if you see from the side, so we don't want to pull them up like this, okay? So they're down and relaxed. Press straight forward from the chest. So I'm releasing this tension on so that I don't have so much tension because that hurts my shoulder, that particular move. But you're gonna see this drop because I don't have that tension. In, press out. In, press out. So again, if you had the correct amount of tension, so like this, I'll just kind of shorten the move, that band won't fall down like that because it stays tight here. You press out and you can feel that tension and you pull back. So we're working a chest press. And again, all of these can be done from a seated position, but what we want to do is have what we call active sitting. So we're not leaning on the back of the chair. We sit forward on the front of the chair and the tummy's pulled in tight, right? Let's do 3 more. 2, 1, pulse. So we keep the arms mostly extended so I'm not like locking out the joint. Ugh. But it's mostly extended and we keep the muscle under tension longer. Yes, you can feel that tension really start to build up so that lactic acid builds up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Nice job. So we should feel that tension kind of on the back of the shoulders a little bit, the biceps and triceps maybe, and sometimes in the chest wall. The chest wall is really hard to target very well, and so sometimes you won't actually feel much fatigue there, but you are still working those particular muscles, okay? So now you're gonna step on your band. So you can step on it with both feet. For this particular move, you could step on it with 1 foot, which would give you a little less tension. We're gonna do bicep curls. So we step on that band and we have the palms facing forward, just like if you had dumbbells in your hands. We curl up and we let it come down slowly. So what we don't want to do is curl up and then let it snap. Do you see that difference? Woo, that doesn't feel good. So curl up, slowly resist on the way down. Good. Curl up and slow down. Good. Up. Slow down. So we always want to have control. That's one of the things about the band that we have to be very careful with is that we have to have a little more control than what we do a lot of times with the dumbbells because we have that resistance that wants to recoil. Up. But that's why you can get a great workout in a tiny little thing, right? We just pack it up. We can put it in our purse. We can put it in our bag if we're going to fly. Dumbbells, we don't really want to carry those around with us, right? 2 more. Up. Slow down. And up. And slow down. Nice job. Now, for the purpose of this video, I'm going to just kind of go through everything one time, some different exercises to do with the band. But you, of course, at any time, once you've learned the basic exercises, would be able to do them in multiple sets. So you might want to do 2 to 3 sets. So we're doing 8 to 12 repetitions of the various exercises. That's 1 set, okay? So if you wanted to just work on your strength, say you wanted to work on your arms, then you would just do 2 to 3 sets of that. So you would do 8 to 12 bicep curls, rest for 20 seconds, and then do it again, okay? And so that's how we kind of load the muscles to really get that change, okay? Now we're gonna do an upright row. So I'm only gonna do a few of these and then I'll kind of drop this left handle because that hurts my shoulder, okay? So we pull up, elbows come wide. Do you see the difference? My elbows are out wide like a puppet. hands are coming up towards the rib cage. You might be able to pull all the way up into your armpits, but it's really not necessary. What we see most people do is they pull their arms like this. Do you see that? That's T-Rex. They have tiny little arms like this, right? We're not a T-Rex, we're a puppet. Arms out wide, yes. So the palms are facing the back. We just pull up. So I'm gonna keep the movement going, but I've dropped that one handle just because that hurts my shoulder. Pull up. But hopefully too, sometimes I've hesitated to do, as my shoulder's gotten worse, I've kind of hesitated teaching and doing classes. But I had somebody come up to me in one of them when I had come and commented about that. And they said, you know, I appreciate that because it really shows us that we can modify stuff. Because we get in a class sometimes and we feel like we have to do it just like everyone else or just like the instructor. And so, you know, I'm able to model that, no, I can still work out, but there's just certain moves I can't do. One more time, up and release. Nice job. So you should feel that in the shoulders. Now, if you feel it in your neck, that just means that you're pulling your shoulders up into your neck while you're working out. Those neck muscles aren't designed to hold that kind of a load, so we gotta try to keep those shoulders down and relaxed. Got it? Perfect. Let's give the upper body a break for a minute and let's do some lower body. Now this is just like what you did in the cardio. We're stepping side to side. You have the option to keep the band on the outside of your legs just like this. You can cross it in between. It actually makes it so it doesn't roll around on your feet as much, but it does create more tension. And if you want even more tension, you can pull those handles up by your hips. So again, it's a rubber band, right? So the more we pull on the rubber band, the more tension it creates. So now you're just gonna step out to the side, left and right. Here we go. Out, in, out, in, out, in. Now, if you wanted to try this standing, you could do this seated. You just pull the bands up, kind of over your legs. If like balance is an issue. But another thing you can do is standing by your chair. Now I'm kind of too far out, but I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. But you would hold your hands and stand behind your chair and step out and out, okay? So that's a great option as well. Out, in, in. Good. Can we take it a little faster? So we're going kind of slow right here, right? Just testing out our balance. But you should start to feel that working down the sides of your legs, right? Shake it out. Let's try it a little faster. Out, out. So we really want to push through the side of the foot. So we feel that working all the way down the side of the legs. Yes. Now we're going to add a little routine to this. We're going to go single, single, double. Single, single, double. Single, single, double. Good. Single, single, double. Single, single, double. One more time. I know you can feel it. And two, release. You can really feel that. That pulls right into these side muscles and the glutes. So it works what's called our glute minimus that comes on the side. So we have the glute maximus, right, the big part of our bum. But then we have the other parts of the glute that come up the side, and we have what's called a TFL, tensor fasciae latae, which helps with our side-to-side movement as well, okay? All right, I'm gonna show you one more thing that you can do with this on your feet. It's very good. It moves differently into the back side, but it also affects our balance, okay, which it's so important to work our balance in various ways. So you have your band, however you're gonna have it, either just on the outside or crossed, okay? Take your toe back like you were putting it to the corner of your room. So it's back at like a 45-degree angle. Now you can just do stepping back, back, in, and then we're gonna add a lift. So we keep that muscle under tension. So it's kind of like the pulses we do on other stuff. 3, 2, 1, hold it back there. So this front leg is bent. You have a slight bend and that's gonna stand and push you up. So you're gonna shift that weight into that front leg. Lift, down, up, down. Good. Press up and down. 6, 5, 4, 3, that toe just barely comes off the floor. Good. Release, shake it out. So when we take that load off of the muscle, we feel that burning sensation kind of goes away, right? So now we're gonna tap that left leg back to the corner. So it's 45 degrees, we're not stepping straight back. You can step straight back, it's not that you can't, but that's just working our glute maximus, which we work so well in so many other ways. So what we're trying to do is target that medius and minimus, which are further on the outside of the hip, to get that stability, because we just don't work those very often, okay? So here we go, step it back at that diagonal. Here we go, step it in and back. Good. Eat. And you notice that kind of affects your balance because you're tipping forward a little bit. 3, 2, 1. Keep the leg back there. Now we're just gonna lift up. Up. So we're pressing our weight into that front thigh, so that's working to stabilize. So briefly, you're on one leg, but you're pushing that to the back. Yes. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Nice job. All right, you're gonna come to your chair. So I'm gonna move this chair over more to the center. I'm gonna show you how you can work your knees. So you take that band around the arch of your foot. Let me see, I need to move that. Here we go. So that band is around the arch of your foot. So if you can see that, I'll turn sideways here, that might help. You put the handles in the opposite hand. So this is on my right foot. I have the handles in my left hand. So from the front, it looks like this. Then you're gonna grab the colored portion of the band right about at your knee, okay? That creates tension. So if I let my foot go, my foot is supported right now on this band, okay? That's where we want to have that tension. And you can adjust the tension if you want to be up here to where the foot's resting on the floor. Just know that you won't get as much work there, okay? And so just try it with the tension. You can always try it once and go, yeah, that's just my legs just don't have enough strength to do that, okay? So that knee is up, we press down. So we're extending out. So I'm not just pressing it straight down like this, okay? Because you'll notice you won't get much work right there. And what we're working on is flexion and extension. So we flex, extend, flex, extend. So even if you've had a knee replacement surgery, you may not have as much flexion, that bend, okay, but this is so important because it works all of the tendons and ligaments in and out of the knee joint. And of course your tummy's working, that core, because we're sitting up nice and tall. We're not leaning on the back of the chair. Down and up. You should be able to start to feel that fatigue there in those muscles around the knee. 4, 3, 2, 1. So rest for just a second, and then I'm going to show you that pulse. It's the same in almost every exercise that you do. You can always add that pulsing movement to where we put the muscle under the load and then just either hold it or do tiny little pulses. Okay, both of those options work. The pulses is a little bit better because you're actually still activating the muscle a little more instead of just locking it and holding it, okay? Here we go. So take it to the floor. Little tiny pulses at the bottom. So if you kind of think step on the gas or the brake, that's kind of the movement that we're doing, okay? We never take it out like this. That can potentially hyperextend the knee, so the heel is coming to the floor. 3, 2, 1, and release. And of course, we don't want to only do one side, right? So we just do the other side. Now, you might have to modify from side to side. So say the resistance was too much. You could try it without holding to the band here. Because when we choke up on it here, we're creating that little bit of extra tension. Of course, I have a yellow band, which is the lightest because that's what I need for my shoulder. I have to really choke up on it to get the work in there. If you're using a green band, you might not have to use as much. But if you have a flat band, some of them don't have a lot of tension. Push that heel down. And that's okay, but you could also just do this move without the resistance if you're just working on being able to control flexion and extension, like maybe after a knee replacement surgery, okay? So lots and lots of modifications. And you can always message me on here if you have a question. just be aware that I am not always on the social media stuff, so sometimes it might take a day or two before I would see it. But that is totally an option. Those of you who know me personally, of course, can just ask me personally or send me a private message and ask any questions that you have, and I'm happy to answer. 5, 4, 3. So our shoulders are relaxed, even though we're holding on here. And last one. Let's rest it for just a minute before we do that pulsing at the bottom. And if you're really strong, you could go right into the pulsing. And you'll see me do that in some of my classes where we do that lengthening, flexion and extension, and then we go right into the pulse. But I'm just showing you all those variations, how you can get a little break there. Bella came to say hi again. So we keep that leg most extended, tapping the heel to the floor. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Okay, now we're going to work in the back. We're going to do what's called a seated row. So the feet come forward, the heels are on the floor, okay? So the handles are right here. We're sitting up nice and tall. We're just going to pull back. So the arms come forward, and they pull back. You could take the feet a little wider for a little more tension, or if you need a little more than that, what that gives you, we choke up on the band, okay? So we pull back. Hands come forward. We don't let it snap forward. So we don't want to pull back and then let that jump forward like that. So we pull back and then come forward. I usually tell people if you use the count of 2, pull back. 1, 2, pull back. 1, 2. That kind of helps us to control it. Pull back. And of course, you could even change it to a 4. Pull back. 4, 3, 2, 1. See the difference? Pull back. 4, 3, 2, 1. Pull back. 4, 3, 2. Let's go to the 2s. Pull back. 1, 2. Pull back. 1, 2. Yes. So see how you can make that variation? We stay under control and we keep the muscle guessing as far as what we want it to do. One more. And release. And of course, we want to make sure that we keep the tummy in tight and then we stay sitting up tall. What we don't want to do is where we start to kind of slouch down like that, okay? We don't want to do that. All right, so I'm going to show you a tricep move. It's a little bit hard to do with a band, but it is doable. I can't do very many of them, but I'm going to face you on my right side, which is my better side, so I can model that a little bit better because I can't do it on the left, okay? So you have that band around your feet like this, okay? I'm turning sideways just so you can see better. You're gonna squat down like you were getting ready to sit in a chair, or if you are sitting in a chair, you're just gonna have to choke up a lot more on the band. So we take the band and pull it up to where we have tension here, then we pull the elbows above the back, okay? Then we press back, and you can adjust the tension right here. So that elbow, do you notice my elbow is staying in place above my back? So I'm not coming down and like this. That's not the move, okay? That elbow stays up, press back, good, press back. 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Nice job. All right, my friends, let me show you one more thing. This is another way to work the chest. So we have the handles. You're gonna grab the band with your fingers touching in the center. So see that? My fingers are right touching in the center. Then relax your shoulders down so your hands are right here. Your fingers are by each other in the center. Pull out. Pull out. So it's not pull up. It's not this. Okay, I'm not going up and down. We're pulling out. So we're working that chest wall muscles. You're working the front and back of the deltoids too. They're assisting. But this is another great way to kind of target those chest muscles. Wall push-ups. Remember, we've talked about that before in my classes, doing wall push-ups or chair push-ups. Anything that has a little bit of an incline is a great thing to use. And of course, you can change the incline that you're using. We're doing 5 more. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We could even add that isometric hold, pull out and hold, hold. You could do the tiny little pulse, so we stay at the end range and we pulse it, Yeah, you can feel that tension come in really quickly. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. You can feel that all working, right? Hopefully you can notice the difference. So hopefully that helps. There are a few other exercises, but I didn't want to do everything all in one. So I'll do another one at some point in time that has just a little bit variation of exercises that you can do with the band, just to give you some options. Because some of you may not have dumbbells, or you just want to be able to work out differently. So when we're talking about those push-ups, so see I have the back of my couch here, so if you can see me here, I could use that. See, so I step back here, and I could do a push-up here, down and up. I'm only doing one, because that doesn't feel good on my shoulder. Okay, but say that's too easy. So maybe you start on the wall, so standing straight up on the wall, we just step back a little bit so we can take our nose forward, okay? We don't want to tip forward like this, so it's not this. We're not tipping at the waist. It's a long plank position, which is like you saw there on the couch. So I keep that long position, so I'm not just dropping here. The whole body comes forward. So like with the couch or a chair, you can think lead with the chest. On the wall, it's kind of hard to lead with the chest, so we lead with our nose. What we don't want to do is dip the head forward. So if we take the face towards it, it kind of leads the chest there, right? Okay? But I could modify that and move to a chair. Now you don't want to have a rolling chair or something like this that could tip over. But if I had this up against the couch or up against a wall so it wouldn't maybe tip over, I could do the same thing, and I'll just show you one, okay? So we hold here, that long plank position, we come down and press up, okay? So we just change the incline to be able to change how hard we're working, okay? You can also take it wide or narrow, okay? Those are the different handstands. This is what they call military style. So out wide a little bit easier. If you do yoga, you're very familiar with a tricep push-up, right? When you come down to cobra, so we're in a down dog position, right? You roll forward to plank, so we're in a plank, and then you slowly lower down to cobra. That's a tricep push-up, okay? So if you do yoga, or if you would like to try yoga, you want to strengthen that to be able to do that, that's a great way. So I hope that you found that helpful. Let's do a few stretches and cool down here. We always want to do that as well. It's just as important as our warm-up and the work, especially when we're working strength, okay? If you're doing just straight cardio and you're just going to slightly, slowly walk around for a little bit afterwards, then that's totally fine. But when we're working strength and we've contracted muscles, it's very important to lengthen those muscles back out, okay? And very easy to do them. If you do an L stretch, which I've shown you before, so we take a chair, or you can use anything you can put your arms on, okay? And so as we have that, we just step back and we make an L with our body, okay? So we don't want our feet way back here. Our feet are inside the hips, okay? And we just drop down. This is going to stretch the entire back side of your legs. It's going to help open up the shoulders. So if I look from the front, they're here. So my shoulders are open, they're not in here, okay? Hopefully, eventually we may get to that. So some of us have that very rounded posture, and it's hard. We're all hunched up over here. But eventually we want to get to where that back is nice and flat, and your head can come down even with your elbows. So as I drop in right here, I'm just going to drop this arm. As I drop in right here and hold that, you get a stretch down the whole part of the back. Then you could bring the hands here and open through the chest. So we stretch out those chest muscles and the shoulder muscles in the front. Nice work. I'll show you a stretch for the triceps. We bring that hand on the back and we press forward or pull overhead, okay? So we do that here, again, pressing forward or pulling overhead. That can help open up the shoulder, stretches out the tricep here. Roll those wrists. Release the tension there in those wrists. Wiggle your fingers. Take a nice big breath in. Breathe up. And breathe out. Nice job, my friends. Once again, sorry for the distractions that goes on, but you know what? That's just life at the Stevens household. So I hope you have a wonderful day. Stay strong and healthy. We'll see you again next time.